All right. And we are live. Hello, everyone. It's another Monday. It's another Living Force. There was, not really any good Star Wars news today, except for the lot of it that we'll be talking about. Tonight, our show is all about redemption, what that means to us in all kinds of Star Wars media. But we'll get to that in a bit. The whole gang is here. You're all here. Wes is here. So Wes can punch it right now. Punch it. Okay, welcome everyone. Hello. You have found the Living Force, your one-stop shop for all things Star Wars books from Utini. My name is Eric Eilerson. I'm one of your hosts, and joining me tonight to talk all about redemption is the full house of hosts. We have the doctor, starting with Dr. Corey Helton. Hello.
Hello there. Ironically used.
Oh, you said the thing because the thing that happened.
I did
that
about the
line.
thing. Well, we're going to talk about that thing later.
That's
what you guys
right.
doing?
Speaking of that thing, for no apparent reason, Dr. Charles Hankel is here. Hey, man.
Hey, I'm fine. My heart's hammering in my chest, and I'm ready to talk about some of this news, but I'm fine.
All right. Well, my heart's hammering in my chest as well, but that's only because I'm looking into the dreamy eyes of Wes Jenkins.
Hello there. I wanted to say it, Corey. Damn it.
Too late.
Well, we said it. Hello there, everyone. We are here tonight on the eve of the news about the Obi-Wan show. Yes, we said the word. We'll be talking about some casting news here in just a bit. But first, I wanted to say hello to everyone in the chat joining us tonight. Again, we love all our folks that join us on YouTube Monday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Utini YouTube for the Living Force. We're so glad you're all here. Very excited to talk about some good news. But first of all, we want to talk about a little show that we got coming out next week. That's right. Next Wednesday, April, he panicked, 6th, 7th. It's Wednesday. It's the next one.
Wednesday.
I should have written it in the outline, but we have a new show coming on the Utini Network, The Cosmic Force. That's right. Our comics only show will be coming. And I wanted to get your guys' input real quick because we were all lucky enough this week to watch a beta show of The Cosmic Force. They did a little live show test going over a round table, like some other people do in their podcast from time to time. And guys, how fun was that? I mean, we're not going to show clips, so it's kind of lame, but that was fun.
It was fun. Like we did a fake live show. So we streamed it privately, and only UTN team members went and viewed, and they ran like the show just like they would normally run a show. And it was really good. At first try, they were like leaps and bounds ahead of where we were at. That's for sure.
It was so much better than what we started with.
I know.
Or what I even
Seriously.
came into.
Yeah.
Well, and it's wild because in our Discord this week, our very own Maggie went back and listened to episode 1 of The Living Force, our Master and Apprentice Roundtable, which I thought we had scrubbed from the internet.
Yeah.
I'm glad we got new mics. I'm
Yes.
glad we got new camera angles.
That is correct. It's a lot of fun. That show's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be successful, I think. And it's gonna be a great opportunity to get into comics for the first time if you've never gotten into comics before. So I know I'm looking forward to it because I don't keep up with it on a weekly basis, and hearing them kind of crash through all kinds of stuff every single week is gonna be a lot of fun. So I'm jacked.
Yeah. So check that out again. If you're in our Discord as well, go over to utini.com/Discord. It has a channel already that is just hype. It's just a hype channel, which I think is great. People have not seen anything. They don't know anything. They're just excited. And that's what's so cool about our community. We love you all. Next Wednesday, be there. Speaking of that Discord community, we have some lovely patrons throughout it. And we got some new patrons this week. We want to say hello there to. I swear we're going to keep doing it. Jordan Smith and Mark McGaha, thank you. Thank you for your patronage. And I hope you're enjoying everything on the Utini-verse that we can offer y'all. A reminder that the new Patreon schedule is starting in April with our 3-month delay for most of our exclusive shows. And we want to announce our Night at the Opera event that we do sometimes. is coming back on May the 4th. Our Inquisitorious patrons and up are going to be able to join us for a watch party. More details to come as far as what that's going to be, what we're going to be watching, how to get involved. Very excited for that. Stay tuned. I don't even know what it's going to be yet. I'm going to be straight with you. I don't know. This was put in the outline by our Patreon manager.
May 4th is probably, I mean, that's the day that a Bad Batch comes out. So I imagine we'll do something about Clone Wars and maybe leading up to Bad Batch. So that might be fun. So yeah, let's do it.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Context clues,
so maybe.
Eric.
I like it. But what would make even more sense? Okay, let's do it. I can't do any more segues. We got to go to the Star Wars Weekly Roundup because, y'all, today I woke up after not enough sleep because I played God of War till 1 a.m. But I then got great news that woke me up. The cast for Obi-Wan Kenobi was revealed. Can we put them on the screen right now, please? Look at this gorgeous roundup of actors. Oh my gosh. It's real, guys. It's real. It's happening. We're getting an Obi-Wan TV show with these people.
This is a great cast. I'm really excited to see this. Let's talk about these really fast.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that stands out to you guys?
Ewan McGregor. He's from Trainspotting.
Yeah, Train Spotting. And Moulin Rouge. I think he was in that movie.
Yes!
That's a pretty good movie.
Was.
You know.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. I think we've I mean, he looks kind of familiar. Like, I'm not really familiar with his work, but you know. Ewan?
Fine. Up and comer.
Ewan McGregor? That's how you say it, right? Ewan?
Yeah.
Okay, let the bit die. Let the bit die. Right. Feel it if you have to. It's Ewan freaking McGregor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Charles, take it in. What do you think about this? It's your boy.
I know. It's my guy. That's my dude. I'll tell you, I pulled this up and I scanned through everybody and my eyes kept going back to Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen because, I mean, I'm really stoked about some of these other people and I'm sure we're going to talk about them. But like seeing just the headshots, they're not even actually together, obviously, but seeing their headshots next to each other again got me. I kid you not, I had butterflies. Like, I'm so excited for this show, dude.
Yes.
It's been 15 years, you know, like since Revenge of the Sith, and knowing that they're confirming, you know, Hayden, they're confirming Ewan is incredible. And if we can get that picture up again, because I don't have it on my my outline, so I want to read it off of there. They also confirm, we'll hit everyone in a second, Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Peace, who were Owen and Beru Lars. So we're guaranteed to get the Larses.
That's amazing.
Which is the original actors coming back for that. And then a ton of new people here that
this
is super exciting.
The first thing I noticed, too, this is an incredibly diverse cast, which is awesome. Like, holy crap.
7 out of 12 are not white people.
That
Hell
is
yes.
That is amazing. Like, look at how diverse this cast looks. This is going to be sick. Like, I'm really jacked for this.
Yeah.
And I'm really with you, too, Charles. Seeing Hayden Christensen up there is like, I think that hits me pretty hard. Like,
yeah,
I mean, he's
so excited, too. You can tell.
Yeah, like, I mean, he's was not destroyed by Star Wars. Like, like it obviously completely shaped and changed his career for, you know, maybe the bad in a way. And I'm glad to see he's back. Like, it feels like redemption in a weird way that Hayden Christensen is getting to come back to Star Wars. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, so excited for him. Moses Ingram, our newcomer on the top line there, she actually put something on her Instagram that everyone's going wild over. And we want to say here, we don't do a ton of speculation here. We want to be surprised by what happens. We don't want to get our expectations up. She did say that she gets to play with lightsabers on her Instagram, which has a lot of people thinking of young Ahsoka.
Ooh.
You know what? Maybe I wholeheartedly think that everyone other than the 4 returning original cast members is playing a new character. I don't think we're going to get a lot of, like, you know, plucking a ton of old characters. What do you guys think?
I wouldn't. I mean,
I don't know.
You think they would create new characters for, like, lightsaber wielding new characters? Like,
I don't think so. I also wonder.
I mean, she could be something.
Thing.
She could be something like an Inquisitor. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, which one of those do you think is going to be the villain or villains?
Definitely the guy with the mustache.
That's the only one I thought.
The guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I could see
Tell me he's not in an Imperial uniform in this picture.
For sure, dude.
He could be. I also think that it's really amazing that Kumail Nanjiani is in this because, like, for those that haven't been following Kumail for years, he's like started out as just like a LA comedy nerd that just had a podcast about video games. And now in the same year, he's going to be a Marvel superhero in the Eternals, and he's in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Incredible stuff
Yeah.
by our boy Kumail. And of course,
I really hope someone's playing Jira, the old lady that tells Anakin there's a storm coming.
ready to get home, Eddie.
Are you kidding me? She is so dead, Charles. What are you talking about? She's like 100 years old in the Phantom Menace.
No. Look how Obi-Wan aged in like 15 years. Like she's probably 37.
Oh my god. Well, I'm seeing in the chat here. So, bless you all for dealing with this nonsense. Some people are saying maybe Kumail is Kitster, and hey, you know what? Maybe that'd be fun. But also one of the Indira, who is from Game of Thrones. A lot of people know her as the lover of Pedro Pascal in Game of Thrones. People are wondering maybe she's Asajj. Maybe we get some of that love there. That'd be cool.
Oh wow.
There's just so many possibilities here, and two things that I really wanted to point out that Ben Safdie, who is in the bottom right corner, he's the kind of, honestly, he's a weird looking white dude. He is the director of Uncut Gems, which came out a couple years ago, that Sandler movie. It's very weird.
Yeah.
And it struck me, he's not like an actor really. And it struck me like the Werner Herzog casting. We're like, we're going to get a weird auteur white guy to play an off the wall character.
You know, he looks like he could be a villain. Maybe that's the villain. Like he's got the sort of psychopath look going. You know what I mean?
Scarecrow vibes.
Yeah. He's like a thriller type villain. Like I don't mean he looks like a sociopath. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that like he has a face of the type of person that wouldn't be like a Darth Vader villain, but more like a thriller type, suspense type of there's
something about your face.
Yeah, you look evil. How do I put this?
Yeah, it is. There's just so many possibilities with this cast alone.
This is the first time. This is the first time since they did the reveal, like when Kathleen Kennedy brought Ewan McGregor out on stage. This is the first time that I've been like, holy shit, this is happening. Like Kenobi is happening. Like
dude, it has seemed kind of weirdly. Not fake, but like
it does.
We're waiting for the cancellation in my
because it's so far. Because it's so far away. Because it's so far away. I guess right. Like what's like, but now it's not far away. Actually,
it's shooting next month.
That is nuts. I cannot. There is no way. There is no way. There's no way I'm gonna be able to watch the first episode of this without getting tears in my eyes. There is no way. It's not gonna be possible. This is just gonna hit. This is gonna hit so sentimentally home. Like
the first time Ewan and Hayden show up on screen together. But what if they don't show up on
Clone Wars
screen
flashback.
at all?
Put him in the armor. Put him in the Clone Wars armor.
Hayden doesn't play Anakin at all. He just plays another character.
Yeah, like a background character. He's not. He's like a janitor.
Amazing. Well, I'm so glad they put this up. I'm so glad that they got all these folks. There's a lot of phenomenal actors in here. Ice Cube's son is also in this. Who's in the bottom left corner? I think it's O'Shea Jackson. Yeah,
I didn't know that was his son.
I feel like
he's Ice Cube's
shouldn't
kid.
Choose the offspring of someone named Ice Cube to put on Tatooine, but that's just me.
He'll have a true Frozen Olaf moment. But I'm so excited for this show. Of course, I'm sure with the coming months there's going to be set photos that leak. We won't be going over leaks or anything on this show, but official StarWars.com news. We couldn't help ourselves. Gosh.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
Big deal.
Obi-Wan, man.
It's
6 episode limited series. It's happening. It's going to be shooting next month. Whew, okay. Any last? Sorry, I'm shaking off the goosebumps on it because now you mentioned Hayden and Ewan together, and I'm just like, I want the behind the scenes doc like they've been doing on all these. I want to see their first hug. I want to see Hayden maskless Vader. I wonder if we're gonna get that.
So I forgot about that. It's only 6 episodes.
Yep, it's an event series. It's not like season 1, seson 2. This is an event.
So maybe the episodes are longer. Maybe the episodes are longer.
Hear me out. 23-minute episodes, 17 minutes of credits.
Oh my God. Get out. Get out. I will be so upset. Oh my God.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. Of course, all new updates we will bring your way. But moving on to a couple other new updates we got. One businessy update we got that kind of affects, honestly, the Cosmic Force more than us. Marvel Comics announced that they will now exclusively be distributed by Penguin Random House. And for those of you that don't think that's maybe the biggest deal in the world. Diamond used to be the company that all comics were published through, and if your comics were bent, they didn't care. If they were late, they didn't care.
Diamond sucks, bro.
Them.
Diamond sucks so hard. I looked into Diamond a lot back when we were selling book boxes. Like I tried really hard to make comics happen with book boxes, and their business model was absolute trash. Like I've never felt so confident about just completely crapping on a company so publicly. Like I hate them. They're awful. Everybody in the comic industry also hates them. So, like, to see Diamond is out and their stupid out-of-date business practice that you have to order comics like 4 months in advance or some crap like that, they're done, bro. They're done. I don't see how they're possibly going to stay alive as a business. So we could feasibly see some revolutionary like progress happen in regards to the comics distribution in the future. Like,
well, and Marvel even said, or Penguin Random House even said, because Penguin Random House, obviously the publisher that handles all the Del Rey stuff and shipping and things like that. They handle the things like the Dr. Aphra script book right over here that is on sale April 6th. They said that they're going to do things like not ship single issue comics alongside graphic novels because that really bends them. And like, because they know that comics are a thing that people want in pristine condition. They're a collector's item. They're things that fans value. And PRH really seems like they're taking that to heart. And I really hope that's true.
I hope so too. Too.
Yay, a merger. The first merger.
The comics
acquisition.
The comics industry has sort of been on the brink for a long time, right? Like for decades, right? And Diamond has literally been the distributor for like 30 years. It's been outrageous. They've been around forever. So I'm excited. I hope something good happens. I want monthly delivered comics for a reasonable price in decent condition. I want that one day. I don't know how it's going to happen, but I want it. Direct from
to PRH's ears.
That's right. Direct from publisher. That's what I want.
I need to make room for that acronym PRH because
PRH.
And I'm not going to know what you're talking about.
A couple more updates we got. With some comics news as well. There was a new High Republic show roughly 3 hours before our recording tonight. I'm really glad it didn't happen on Tuesday because I feel like that happens sometimes. That great news comes out after we stream. But we got a bunch of cool new announcements about the High Republic. There was an interview with Claudia Gray and Daniel Jose Older with, of course, the marvelous Christina Ariel hosting the entire thing. We got some info about Into the Dark. We got some stuff about Buckets of Blood from IDW Adventures. But if we want to throw on the screen right now, we got some really cool art, which, of course, if you know us, we love the art of the High Republic. And maybe the coolest thing we got was a look at the protagonist of Out of the Shadows, which is Silvestri Yarrow, right there looking freaking awesome, who is confirmed the first black lesbian lead of a Star Wars book coming out this summer. She looks awesome.
Yes, she
does. That is a cosplay if I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
That's a great cosplay, right? Yeah.
She looks like she could be in like a Star Wars RPG character. That looks like somebody that...
Oh my God, yes.
Looks like something that somebody would design. I like it.
Yeah, she looks great. I know a lot of people... when the cover came out, thought that it was what's her name? Something Staros. Who's the young one from A Test of Courage?
Yeah, Ava Staros, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Christina Ireland's like, no, it's another black character, guys. And this is her. They did confirm again that she is going to be going around the galaxy, dealing with her ex-girlfriend as well. So between Aphra and this, we're getting a lot more queer women in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Freaking awesome. Can't wait for that. And of course, we got some other art that went up on the show, on the High Republic show today. So this is, what is it? The Bogoranth, which is an upcoming monster from Daniel Jose Older's IDW Adventures. And y'all, Daniel Jose Older's mind is... it's great, and I don't really want to live in it all the time because, man, that's terrifying.
This thing is much larger than I realized. I just realized there's a person on his head, isn't it? Holy crap!
And it's being whipped, so it doesn't look like it's enjoying it.
Oh my God, I'm not into this at all. This is
it's
like
a bog monster mouth on horse legs with chicken feet, like,
and it's a camel body. There's
coming soon to a kids comic. So, so that's gonna be very fun with the High Republic Adventures. And then they also dropped some concept art for Into the Dark. We had our own Affy Hollow. If you missed our 2-part roundtable and Into the Dark, that was our previous 2 episodes. So that's what Affy looks like. if you want to go back and listen to it. They also dropped the art for our very own Jedi Master Comac Vitus, who like has that nice beard, that long flowing black hair. He's like,
it's like Aragorn or something.
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah. Wow. Yep. Didn't even think of that, but you're 100% right. I love Aragorn the Jedi, which is my new AIM username. Look me up on there. So I love that. Again, we need an Art of the High Republic book before the end of this. I want all these bound on my shelf that I will just occasionally dust and look at the spine of. That's what I do with my art books. I'll be honest about it. But did this ring true for you? How you thought these characters looked? We had a little bit of discourse in our Slack.
Yeah, we had some discourse earlier about Comac being kind of weird looking, like compared to what we looked like in our mind's eye. And characters never look like they do in my mind's eye, like in when concept art comes out. So I'm not really fazed by this, but I think they look cool. I mean, it's nice to. I mean, I guess a better question would be: Do you guys change your perception of what they look like? Like when you read the Harry Potter books, you pictured them a certain way, and then then you saw the movies, and now you can't picture any other way.
When I first read Sorcerer's Stone, I don't know why, I thought of Hermione as like a 2D princess with a pink dress and a pink hat. I don't know why. Not based in anything. But that was just
2D.
all the way. And then
like
I
a paper person, like
Paper
throughout,
Mario
like she turns sideways and you can't see her because she doesn't exist in that plane. Like,
dude, I don't know if you know this. Kids are stupid. You don't forget this.
I don't change my perception of what I can't remember what these characters look like when I see their concept art either. So it doesn't really change anything for me.
I will change it if I see something on screen, probably. But yeah. Otherwise, I told you guys I pictured Comac as a black man, a bald black man. So this is a big deviation from that. And I don't know why. Funny. Like, it doesn't describe him that way, but that's just what I conjured in my head.
I was the same way. I imagined him kind of like, what's that guy in The Walking Dead? The black guy with the white hair. I forgot what his name was. Ezekiel?
King? Yeah, Ezekiel.
Yeah, that's what I imagined. Like this big, like strong black man with like this long white beard. And now I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah.
But again, I mean,
actually,
I pictured more gray.
Actually, now that you mention it, he actually does kind of look like how I pictured him in my mind's eye, I think. Like, I think I pictured him with dark, long hair at least. Like, I don't know about the beard, but like, I don't know. He does kind of look. I was picturing a young Qui-Gon like character in my mind, right? So this kind of fits that picture a little bit. So
the second that I see what those characters look like, I will automatically refer back to what they look like, but not how you pronounce their names. They always go the way I figured out how to pronounce their name is what their name is.
That's right.
Go to the audio book. Yeah, that's it. Especially in your head, because you're like saying the word like 300 times in your head, and it's really hard to change that habit. I completely agree.
Speaking of Harry Potter, I said Hermione until the movie came out.
That is hilarious.
Hermione.
Dude,
that's funny.
Great. I said Boba Fett for years.
Well, that's just wrong, but all right.
But aside from the art we already knew about, we got one other freaking incredible announcement in this High Republic show, which was a new cover of something. Tempest Runner, the first audio drama from the High Republic, written by Kevin Scott. Y'all, I screamed in my living room.
Love that cover.
Best cover ever.
I am so jacked that audio dramas were successful. Okay.
Yes.
Like, thank you. An entire new medium in Star Wars. And like when we talked to Kevin Scott the first time we interviewed him, we asked him all about what do you hope happens with this? Do you think this means audio dramas are back? Like, are you into audio dramas? And he has all this experience with working on them and stuff. And like he was all about like, yes, I hope this catches on. They're really fun projects. And like, I love these projects. Like Dooku Jedi Lost really stands out in my mind as being such a unique project. And I find myself referencing that and recommending it to people all the time. Like, because it's just so, it's so cool and unique and like it doesn't feel so scripted the way an audiobook does. So I'm all about it, man. All about it.
Yeah. And if we want to show the next picture, this, much like Afra and Dooku, will be focusing on a singular character. And the character here is none other than Lorna D, the freaking badass masked Nihil Twi'lek Tempest Runner. Like,
the helmet is enormous.
It is honestly, when I read that this was happening, I'm like, oh my God, it's the chapter from the book that Corey loves, but as an entire audio drama.
Yes. I hope there's so much drugs, so much pirate drugs, please.
Yes.
She looks really badass. I'm a big fan of this. Like, I mean, her body and head tails and stuff kind of like picture what I thought she was going to look like, but the helmet of all the characters we've seen in High Republic reveals never look like I picture them. Like, I don't know why.
No.
Like, the helmet's
This one's very steampunk.
It is very steampunk, and for some reason I picture like a, I don't know, like a weird, like Freddy Krueger type of hockey mask type of thing on all these people for some reason. Like when I'm seeing them, like it's not it's not Freddy Krueger, it's Jason. Jason wears the hockey mask. Yeah.
I got
I'm getting my killers mixed up, bro.
Yeah, this is freaking sick, and I love that for the first audio drama. They're picking, there's not a Jedi, it's not a smuggler, it's a freaking Nihil war leader that actually got like really like bamboozled in Light of the Jedi. Like Markian Ro totally tricked her. Yeah. And I love finding out where we're gonna go from there.
Yeah. I hope it's I love villain stories. I love villain stories. I hope it goes, I hope it is the story of why she joined the Nihil. So I want to sympathize with the Nihil, right? I want to question all of those motives and everything. I love doing that. Like drawing the lines between good and evil is really fun in books, I think. So I'm excited for this. This is gonna be awesome.
Jared mentioned in the chat, it's interesting that they call this an audiobook rather than an audio drama. And I agree. And I think though the Afro thing was called an audiobook original. A Star Wars audiobook original. So that just might be like the terminology we're using. I know audio drama seems to tend to be more, the British use that a lot.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's just the
Did they call
phrasing,
Duke of Jedi Lost that? I don't remember. I thought that was called an audio drama. I think it was. Maybe they decided they wanted to use a different term because they weren't in too deep.
Dooku was also more narrator, multi-character. Like Afro was more of a singular voice. So I'm assuming that's what we'll get more with this.
Yeah.
No other info on release date except for it's this year. So another High Republic thing coming out 2021. My God.
Well, another roundtable.
That's right, buddy. But of course, we will keep you up to date on this and all other stuff. But for now, you have plenty of stuff you can order and read, including, as you said earlier, the Dr. Afra script book of the audiobook original that's coming out on April 6th, and Thrawn Ascendancy Greater Good, which is coming to us on April 27th. The new release page on Utini has you all set there. But and aside from books for just a quick second, we have one more reveal that would be on the Cosmic Force if it was on this week, but it's not. It's on next Wednesday, April 7th. This is the cover to High Republic number 7. And it's interesting for one very specific reason. Guys, what is that? Why is that cover interesting?
Got some lightsabers, bro.
Yeah, but it's a red lightsaber.
It's a red one.
There's a red one.
But there's no Sith in the high. But I don't know either. I don't know.
Is it red orange? Is it red orange?
It's pretty.
It's a gray Jedi.
It's pretty red to me, bro.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's a straight up red lightsaber.
It is. It certainly is.
Dude, I want to see some lightsaber fights in the High Republic.
But they're so rare.
Bleed a crystal?
They're so rare, bro. They never happen. Lightsaber fights never happen. Why do we need to train lightsabers? We're never going to use these to fight each other.
It's my favorite trope. Why would I ever use this? Oh my God!
Exactly.
That's what every lightsaber fight is.
Okay, this just brought back a crazy memory. Do you guys ever remember those old fake lightsaber duels they would do on YouTube, like back in the early days of YouTube, and people were doing that?
Yeah,
there was that one. I can't even remember what it was called, but I must have watched it 100 times. There's this one video where they get like an Amazon package on their porch, and they open it up, and they don't know what it is, and it's lightsabers, and like they're like out in public just like cutting stuff up and stuff, and they like run into each other, and they have this epic battle on a tennis court or something like that, and it's hilarious. I love that video. I don't know what it is. I have to find it. And this was like 15 years ago. I don't know why this memory just suddenly rushed to my brain. Oh man,
it's a vision. It's a force.
It's a vision. A force
you're
vision.
having.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll see if Keith Trennis has a lightsaber battle on a tennis court in the High Republic, but you're gonna have to read High Republic number 7 to find out. And it's also fascinating because Cavan Scott wrote High Republic number 7. He also wrote Tempest Runner, the audio drama, and he also wrote a full book, The Rising Storm, that's coming out. And I just want to say, Cavan, if you're listening, props to you, man, for not saying a word about any of this when we interviewed you. And we're like, oh, yeah, you're Rising Storm.
Yeah.
You're one big project coming. He's like, yep.
Yep. Yeah. He's
Yep,
super
that's it.
professional. Super
That's
professional.
it.
I thought we were the best of friends, Kevin.
I just thought you were tired enough to give it out, man. But oh my gosh, and as B Nasty says, and the graphic novel that's coming out later this year, the Monster of Temple Peak.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Dude, go to
another
bed.
exciting project.
Kevin.
Sleep, bro. No wonder he looked so tired when we talked to him. Like he's exhausted. He's been cranking out projects like a madman this year.
Gosh. Well, we are clearly going to have plenty of High Republic going on. Go check out the High Republic show. And as a side note, not to dwell on it too much, the horrible people of Star Wars YouTube are always on those videos downvoting into oblivion and putting stupid quotes in the comments just to like screw with the analytics. If you have a second and you do enjoy that stuff, throw them a like, give a good comment so that the people making this stuff don't just get bogged down because that's stupid. Anyway, enough oxygen on them. Charles, we have book reviews. People read books.
People did read books.
People read. Hey, good on y'all. You read books.
So many books. And the first person that read a book this week was Javier V, who read Shadows of the Empire by Steve Perry, and he gave it 5 stars. And he said, this book was the first one I read when I entered the world of Star Wars novels. My expectations were high as I played the video game in my childhood, and to my surprise, they were fulfilled. I felt like watching a Star Wars movie that never was, and I connected with my childhood. From that moment, I began to buy all the books in the series that I could. The plot is interesting. The classic and new characters are very well built, and the atmosphere that is created is unmatched. I highly recommend that those who want to start venturing into the world of Star Wars books start with this wonderful novel. Wow. So high praise from Javier for Shadows of the Empire. And it is one of those really cool books, right? Because there is a video game, there is a soundtrack, there is a book. Like it was maybe the predecessor to some of the multimedia stuff that we are seeing today. So Shadows of the Empire is hugely important.
It is.
And fun fact, one of the only Legends books our very own Jared of Legends Look Back has not read.
Ooh,
What?
Shot.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Believe
that.
it.
Oh, hold on. Breaking news. Well, we may have said this before. In the comments, Jared does say, we're doing Shadows of the Empire this summer as a collaboration between Legends Look Back and the Cosmic Force.
There you
Nice.
go.
So,
There you go.
Javier, you got good timing, buddy.
Nice.
Perfect. All right, Wes, take us away with Ian.
Alrighty, so Ian read Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray and gave it 5 stars. What can I say? Wow. Just wow. The way Claudia Gray gets you inside Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's head gives us a never-before-seen look at how that bond was formed between the two Jedi. I was left shell-shocked when I finished that last page. I was sad knowing that I had finished this novel. This is a must-read for Star Wars fans. And I cannot agree more. That is an incredible book. And we actually put on the YouTube description to go and see the Obi-Wan Kenobi collection. And that's part of it.
It is. It is
Oh,
indeed.
look at that plug. Love it. Yeah, that book's great. It deserves way better than the round table we gave it. Straight up.
That's
Love it.
That's accurate. Was that our first
Quality
one?
wise.
It
I think
was.
our first one
It
ever,
was our
right?
first one.
Or the first one we recorded. There are
Yeah.
some in the dark parts of YouTube that will never be found again. But
Yeah.
all
So,
right.
Master and Apprentice, you guys, what'd you think? Did you enjoy the book or
That's pretty good. That's pretty
to the
good.
pit?
Okay.
To the pit.
I
That's all right.
liked it. I liked it.
All right, Corey, can you finish this up by reading Jackson J's review?
Yes, Jackson J reviewed Lost Stars by Claudia Gray, and he only gave this book 3 stars, which is the lowest score I think anyone's ever given Lost Stars on our site. And I'm very interested to let you guys hear this because I want to talk about it. I prioritized my reading of this book because of the glowing reviews in Utini. Although I did enjoy the nostalgic aspects of following the stories that we all know from the original trilogy, the plot line that this book covers did not do it for me. Due to the excellent reviews of this book and other novels by Claudia Gray, I preemptively purchased a couple more by the same author, but now I'm not too enthusiastic about reading the others. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Let's talk about this.
and
What do you guys think? Because this does raise some interesting questions. For example, let's address the first obvious one: is it okay to dislike Lost Stars?
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Not your thing.
Obvious,
That's fine.
obvious answer from us, right? If you thought we were gonna say anything besides that, then you have not been paying attention. Because you
Next
don't.
question.
Everybody doesn't have to like the same stuff, right? In fact, there's a
Right.
number of people that don't like Lost Stars, right? It has a certain young adult vibe. If you like more serious, dark stuff, then maybe it's not for you. Nothing wrong with that. One of the reasons that the biggest reasons that we offer it as kind of the first getting started book is because it has so much connective tissue to other stuff. So if you've never read any other Star Wars books before, then it might be a good one to get started. That doesn't mean that you're going to love it the first try.
But also, I wanted to pick this one because the last sentence of the review mentions, I think, a problem that a lot of people have when reading some Star Wars books that says, I bought a lot of books by this author, and now I'm not too stoked about reading them. So maybe you finish a book and you haven't bought the books by the author yet, and now you don't know if you want to. And I want to say one of the coolest things about Star Wars books, I think we can all agree on, is that every author definitely has a style, but authors write so many different types of books.
Yeah.
Like Claudia Gray, hilariously, I think is the best example of this, because you put Master and Apprentice, a like Qui-Gon Obi-Wan buddy cop thing about the Force, to Bloodline, which is a political thriller starring Leia, to Leia, Princess of Alderaan, which is a coming-of-age adventure story.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool to kind of say, hey, I don't necessarily love this book, but what other types of stuff have they written? Now, if you don't like war stuff, maybe none of Alexander Freed's stuff is for you, you
That's
know?
right.
But
That's right.
like, have you guys had that before, where you finished a book by a Star Wars novel or novelist, and you've been a little hesitant? And if so, how'd you get over it? What did you read instead?
I think the most obvious answer to that question is one that we've all experienced on this show: is our feelings about the new Thrawn trilogy, right? Not the Chaos, not the what's the Ascendancy trilogy, but the first canon trilogy. You guys know I love the first Thrawn book, but I felt really mad about the second two books in that series. Master is here. No, it wasn't Master and Apprentice. What am I trying to say? The what's the third one called?
Alliances,
Treason.
Treason.
Alliances and treason.
Treason. Yeah, I would go as far to say as I disliked Alliances, right? Like, which is that sounds like blasphemy about an author like Timothy Zahn, right? But I think we all felt a little mad about that book. So, I mean, I think
you ended up giving the first new Thrawn trilogy book what, a 10 out of 10?
10,
yeah,
perfect.
10.
I mean, it's
I did,
same
yeah.
author, even the same character. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it was so much of the same stuff, and it was a totally different experience for you.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
If you have never, if you dislike Lost Stars, that is definitely not a reason to totally shut out Claudia Gray. I think she is an excellent example of an author whose works, they do really vary between books. Like I don't like.
Yep.
You almost can't predict what her books are going to be like, because
No.
like she does really good character studies, but outside of that, her plot lines are like they're all over the place, and it's awesome. She's a very diverse author.
Yeah, so definitely. So thank you all for your reviews. And again, if you're reading books that you liked or books that you're a little unsure about, go over to Utini, find your book profile, scroll down to the bottom, leave that star rating and a review, and we may read it on the show just like that. Thank you all very much. All right, we are going to take a quick break to show you that lovely, lovely merch ad that I just can't get enough of every time. And then we're going to come back and have a little chat about redemption. See you in a second.
We gotta get beer.
All right, what's up, everybody?
Listen, apparently my mic was still hot when I said I had to go get beer. Guess what, guys? I have no cold beer in my house, so I am like really upset now.
That's disgusting. That's disgusting. But
You
you
think
know
you
what,
could ever
Corey?
be redeemed, Corey?
Hey! Segues. So last week, we had a little chat amongst ourselves here saying, you know what? We have a lot of year coming up. We're going to have a lot of shows. What are some things we want to talk about? because sometimes we plan the show early. Sometimes I have to pick a topic on a Friday for a Monday. And, you know, we're like, you know what? All the podcasts on our network are doing much better than us in the planning department. So we came up with a giant list. And one of those that was on the list that I thought was really interesting was redemption. Because as we have said somewhat inorganically throughout this show, redemption is a key part of Star Wars. Characters get redeemed more often than not. We love the arcs of them. And we wanted to talk tonight about some things that have been redeemed in our eyes. And what we're going to do, we're going to play kind of a stupid game. I'm sneaking it in. It's not a full Eric stupid game, but it's definitely close. We're going to go around and talk about our favorite movies, books, and characters that have been redeemed in our eyes. But before we do that, I want to ask you guys, just to start, what are some things in your life that have redeemed things for you? Whether it be, are you a rewatcher that redeems things? Does sharing things with other people, like our roundtables, for instance, does that redeem stuff in your eyes? Like, how does that happen?
Yeah, totally. I'm easily influenced by other people's opinions. It's one of the reasons I try to surround myself with positivity in regards to Star Wars, because, like, you know, I let the public ruin my experience of the Living Force. The Force Awakens.
Okay. I read all those reviews and saw those tweets. And I'm like, those guys suck.
A bunch of a-holes, man. No, The Force Awakens. I let people ruin The Force Awakens for me for a long time, and you know, so yeah, I think it's just other people's opinions that really rubs off on me pretty negatively.
All right, well, that's the bad part of it.
Yeah.
Well, I think another thing about that is we change as people throughout our lives as well, right? And so just because you didn't enjoy something at one point in your life does not mean that that's a life sentence for you. You know, there are a lot of people who have come around on certain things. I mean, we're going to talk about a ton of them, things that we've done, but you know, there's stuff I didn't enjoy as a kid that now I love, or vice versa, you know, and it's just, we're all different people throughout our lives, and it just matters, you know, how do you feel about it right now? And if you can find joy in something, regardless of when it is, find it.
Totally.
Yeah. 100%. So let's start out with the softball, right? I had to think about it. There are 11 Star Wars movies. That shouldn't be a hard thing for me to think about as a Star Wars host. There are 11 main Star Wars movies, 12 if you count the Clone Wars. And we're going to go around, guys, and I just want to hear what movie has been redeemed the most in your eyes throughout your life. Now, we'll try not to double up. So if someone before you in the order says yours, you got to come up with another one, because I'm sure we'll have multiple thoughts. But Wes, let's start with you, man. What is the Star Wars movie that has been redeemed the most for you in your life?
Rogue One. I hated that movie when I first saw it. I just want to see Corey's face. I'm kidding.
Yes!
I'm kidding. I just want to see Corey's face.
Oh my God.
Corey was legitimately insulted.
I was.
Wow. Wes, you know what that was?
Lies. Deception. Oh man.
Okay, so this might
Screw
be
you,
one
Wes.
of y'all's.
You know, my heart rate go up.
I mean, your head was down, and I saw you go, what? So the movie that I didn't, I guess I disliked when I first saw was The Last Jedi. So the second that I saw Luke toss a lightsaber over his shoulder, I was like, oh, that's gonna do it for me. And right in the beginning of the movie, and I'm not gonna like everything that happens throughout. But as I've watched it over and over again, and as I've seen the character story from The Force Awakens, well, pretty much, I guess, through episode 1 all the way through The Rise of Skywalker, especially The Rise of Skywalker, I can see how the dyad or Snoke or Palpatine bridging Rey and Kylo's minds, how that they're first putting that into play. And then I just thought that was super interesting how that they first put those steps in to tell everybody that they needed both Rey and Kylo to defeat the villain or bad guy or Snoke, Palpatine, whichever.
Right.
And when I keep rewatching it, I keep understanding the chase. You know, everybody had a problem with the chase, and how come the Star Destroyer doesn't go into light speed and like gets ahead of him and shoots him down or something. But I understand it more and more every time I see it, and then I just love to see the hold-up maneuver. The hold-up maneuver is every time
Such a great moment in theaters.
Yeah.
Like I understand
Yeah.
why so many people disliked it because it's one of those sciencey things that it's really easy to critique in Star Wars. Like, you know, the four of us know that, like, you know, you can't question it because it's Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
But like,
It's space wizards.
yes, right. But it was easy to critique from the public standpoint. But like that scene in the theaters, man, was so sick.
Yeah.
I loved it. So sick.
Yes. The casual fan that goes to see a Star Wars movie, maybe not on opening night, but just sees it and is opinionated, can ruin it for a lot of people, right? So
Yeah,
totally. Seeing it over and over again, and then seeing it as it ties into the story, it redeemed itself in my mind. Probably on like the third or fourth viewing, and then I've probably seen it like 20 times. But
Right.
yeah, that's the one for me. Sorry if I took it off your list.
No, that's great, man. So we got Last Jedi. It's a great one. I know a lot of people in our community have talked about that too in Discord. I see that one pop up a lot, like people that were on Twitter maybe and got sucked into the critiques or just the anger around it, and then left that pool, like you were saying, Corey, like left that for a little bit and found some more people that were just either positive or neutral and let themselves have new opinions. So very cool. I'm glad that got to happen. It's gonna make me mushy this episode. I'm gonna get very happy.
It is. Yeah.
Corey, how about you, dude?
Yeah, I can totally do this. It is funny that you brought this up. Like this kind of this wasn't really intentionally planned, but this week in Discord, Maggie called me out for like something about what was one of the episodes? It was like episode 2 or something. I said I was never going to give a book a perfect 10, right? And like I have done that at least twice. I gave the Thrawn book and the Light of the Jedi are both a perfect 10.
Right.
And like, yeah, like as you say, your opinions can and should change, right? So like it's funny that happened in Discord this week with me specifically. And I think that's what wisdom is. I think that's as you get older, like you're able to
admitting you were wrong.
wreck it. Yes. And
you get laser eye surgery, you remove the glasses, grow a beard, everything.
That's right.
That's the whole thing, man.
Yeah, I think just in general, sorry to get off this tangent, I'll answer your question in a second. But I think in general, like exposing yourself to a lot of knowledge like can help you change your opinion. I think Charles can back this up. Medical school was incredibly humbling for me because like the more you know, the more you don't know, and that's so obvious. Like I know 1,000% more than the average person about the human body, but like I feel like I know like a drop in the bucket of the knowledge that there is to know about the human body. And it's crazy, man. So like, the Dunning-Kruger effect says that you learn a little bit of knowledge and you have an incredible confidence about it. And that's so dangerous. So I think questioning your opinions about stuff is wisdom and something you only get when you're older, which to answer your question, my movie is The Phantom Menace. That's my...
Ooh, nice.
In fact, like before I shaped my own opinion now about being really positive about Star Wars stuff and surrounding yourself with joy, I actually was kind of a douchebag about The Phantom Menace. I'll freely admit that. Like I hated that film. I really disliked it. I think I liked it as a kid. I don't quite have the nostalgia associated with it that you guys have, but I definitely liked it as a kid and watched it as a kid. But I really grew up somehow was influenced by that. The Phantom Menace sucks. The prequel sucks kind of talk. And it wasn't really until the Revenge of the Sith came out that I changed my mind about those types of things. But I used to quote the Red Letter Media video about The Phantom Menace. Have you ever watched that before? I used to quote that to people about why it's such a shitty film. And now that I'm older, like I recognize you can do that with any film. Like you can critique anything with legitimate sounding criticism, right? And I've since really learned to enjoy The Phantom Menace. Like there's a lot to appreciate about that origin story, about like, how the High Republic is this era that's like really far off and like it has nothing to do with the Jedi, and it seems stupid because there's dealing with stuff that the movies are not about at all, and taxation and the Trade Federation. But like now it's kind of cool for me to see that because that was the galaxy at the time. It's the state of the galaxy. The Jedi did boring, menial shit that nobody wanted to do, right? Like taxation, right? So like it's easy to criticize the crawl and be like, taxation, what is that? That doesn't sound like Star Wars. We're like, yeah, it doesn't sound like Star Wars.
It's peacetime.
Yeah, it's peacetime. So there's a lot to appreciate about that. Watching it as an adult, I cannot believe how well the pod race scene has aged. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
That scene is phenomenally made. Some of the CGI is a little off. I don't hate Jar Jar anymore. I think he's a fun character. I think the Clone Wars probably changed that for me. So it's definitely the Phantom Menace for me. In fact, my opinion has really dramatically changed about the Phantom Menace. I used to really despise it. Now it's up there for me. I really enjoy watching that film.
That's awesome. I was gonna say real quick before I head over to Charles, I want to look at the chat here. A ton of awesome chats going on, including Andrew and B Nasty gave us some super chats. Thank you all. That's very nice of you. But there's some great talk about a lot of Last Jedis as well. A lot of folks like US that saw it in theaters weren't as thrilled. But now some people say it's their second favorite now, saying that has some cool theater stories about the employees warning about the silence and things like that, which is fun. Oh, dang. And speaking of the Senate and things like that, Podcast of the Will says that they want an Aaron Sorkin written series about the Imperial Senate and take all the money I have now and will ever make and make that show.
Please.
Absolutely agree. Charles, what about you? I'm gonna put myself in trouble here and let you take another one and see. Hope that mine is still on the board.
So my answer for this is actually going to be Attack of the Clones.
I'm gonna hit you with the brick, but go ahead.
What's yours? I have other answers.
No, go.
No, to be clear, I've never hated any Star Wars movie. From episode 1 through episode 9, I've always found at least something to enjoy in them. And weirdly enough, as a kid, I loved Attack of the Clones, and it wasn't until I was older that I grew to really dislike a lot of things about this film. And in that way, I think it's the movie I probably gained the most appreciation for out of any of them, because like I said, I really loved it when I was a kid because it was awesome, right? There was more lightsabers than we've ever seen in a scene before. So there was pretty much that I was just holding on to as a kid, was all the action. And then as I got older, I heard the phrase Attack of the Clones, and immediately I hate sand would jump to mind. And it was just, it was all the stilted dialogue, which is not wrong. I mean, like, some of the dialogue in the movie is tough to get through, but it's not a reason to hate the film, right? Because, in actuality, there is so much good in that movie, from the high-speed chase and going to the Outlander Club to find Sam Wessel, Obi-Wan versus Jango Fett in the rain. I mean, come on.
So cool.
The entire Geonosis arena. Yoda versus Dooku. Like, there are so many moments in that movie, despite it still being my least favorite of the prequels. There are so many moments in that movie alone that are some of the best of Star Wars. And that's the really cool thing about any of these movies, is dislike as much about any of the Star Wars films as you want. There are shining moments in there somewhere that really are head and shoulders, at the front of the experience of what it is to be a Star Wars fan. And, the prequels, they get a ton of hate just in general, and Attack of the Clones as well, related to the dialogue or the political aspects or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, these are elite stories. Like, this is modern day mythology to a T. Like, nothing else. Obviously, we're all biased here, but like, Star Wars is top tier storytelling. Like,
it really is.
We forget because it just happened to happen during our lifetime, more or less. But like, these are some of the greatest stories told, like, in human history. I don't care. Like,
man.
That's how
No,
I
I think it's true.
Really.
I think you could take it and place it in any point in human history. And if you had if you place some version of this at any point in human history, I think everyone would agree that it's really good storytelling. Like, it touches the human condition. It really does.
Yeah.
And like, I just want to hit a little bit of the Attack of the Clones too, because that was absolutely going to be mine as well. Mostly I'm going to attribute to Clone Wars, straight up. The retroactive framing of the conflict through that show. Now I watch, honestly, mainly it's Anakin and Padme's relationship in that movie is the cringe stuff a little bit with the dialogue and stuff. But now I can put their love that I see in the Clone Wars and stuff onto that movie. And I actually really get excited for the Naboo stuff. I really get stoked about that as well, which is a gift that like the EU has given me, that Clone Wars has given me, things like that. Before I give mine, I wanted to point out something that I believe our friend Brian from Pink Milk, who's in the chat, point out, that said that he's really trying to like Rise of Skywalker. That says, I don't hate it. It gave me one of my favorite Star Wars moments, but it just doesn't do it for me. And I think that is also a point in this redemption arc as well. Like, I think there are certain Star Wars properties that take time, that may never get to the elite status of others. But I think that that's fine too. That's stuff that, like, my personally, I thought about putting Rise of Skywalker as mine, but I'm still in my journey of redemption on it. I'm excited to finish it, but there's stuff that each time it gets a little better. Watching my mom, like watching it with my mom and watching her get excited made it better. And each thing a little bit like that, a little bit like that. And oh man, super chat from Steven Smith just came in. Said such a great stream. Thanks for keeping Star Wars positive. Thank you, man. We're doing our best. And on that note, I'm going to give mine, which it sounds like a bit. It is not. It is actually Rogue One.
Oh
and
my God.
No. But here's the reason. It didn't start bottom tier. When I got out of Rogue One for the first time, I walked out and I was like, okay, that was like a B. I was like contented, but I wasn't like over the moon. And when I tell you every watch since, it has just climbed and climbed and climbed.
That's right.
It's like
There's got to be a way to mute Corey. Like,
Corey would kick me out of the company. But and the thing is too, like this isn't one where I could point to certain things I didn't love or point to things that didn't do it for me. It just for some reason it just didn't click as hard, and I don't know why. And now every time I watch it, it climbs. And then I read Rebel Rising, and I learn more about Jyn, who I maybe didn't love as much. And then I hear Beth Revis's inner monologue as I watch the film, and it climbs again. Like the Outers, I read Catalyst, and now I care about Galen Erso and Krennic's friendship. Like that movie, based on the material around it, has been infused with such greatness that now I can watch it as seriously the cinematic masterpiece it totally is.
Yeah.
And I want to call out one thing that I think a lot of friends that I have thought about, which is Cheryl's, which is Solo. Solo had the worst marketing campaign coming out less than 6 months after Rise of Skywalker.
Terrible.
Or no, Last Jedi possible.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got sucked up. But man, that thing, since it hit streaming, and has just had a renaissance.
It's a great film. It's really a great film.
It's so fun.
Good.
I felt that was going to be my second choice was Solo, because that's kind of I felt a little, I walked out of it feeling like a lot of the critics said that it's a really good summer action movie. It didn't feel like an incredible Star Wars movie. It felt like a good summer action movie. And I've since totally changed my opinion of that film too. Like I've loved Solo. It's got a lot of rewatch value. It's on my list of movies that I cannot watch and fall asleep to because it's too interesting and action packed.
Hey, we will say it too, Steven.
Because you don't want to close your eyes and see Lady Proxima.
What happened?
That's way in the beginning.
I know.
It's like you sleep right away.
That's right. That's right. Gotta go to sleep before the Proxima scene.
That's anyway for the show this week.
Oh, make Solo 2 happen. Absolutely. God, it's such a. We'll get there. We'll get there. Next thing, though, of course, we are a book podcast, are we not? We'll go around again, same order, because I miss hearing Wes's luscious tones here. What's the book? And books are a little harder because rereading takes a lot longer than rewatching. It's more of a solo activity. You're not going to like sit at a party and read unless you do. Awesome. Good for you. Keep doing that, please. But Wes, what's a book that has been redeemed in your eyes?
The book that has been redeemed in my eyes is Alphabet Squadron. So, as much of you can attest to, Alphabet Squadron's kind of a challenging read, right? It's very technical. It's very detailed in parts, and very detailed in parts that maybe that didn't need to be detailed just to add to the story or the plot. But I noticed as I've read the second book and I've got into Victory's Price that all these little details match up, right? So it's almost like watching a Star Wars movie just one time and then not catching everything. And you go back and you watch like, oh, I didn't catch that little detail. Hell, I still do that to this day. When we watch the Phantom Menace, we did that commentary for Patreon, I caught a whole bunch of new things on Phantom Menace that I haven't seen before. But getting back to Alphabet Squadron. So while I'm reading Victory's Price, all of these little pieces are falling into place, right? So and I've read the book and I've listened to the audiobook. So I think next time when I go back, because I'll have to listen to the audiobook probably at like, I don't know, 1/4 speed or 1 1/4 speed, not 1/4 speed.
Man, you have been dubbed real quick. I wanted you to see in the chat by Andrew that you're the big brains of the podcast now, because that's the correct answer apparently.
I'm sure it was one of y'all's. I appreciate you letting me go first because I grabbed the obvious ones, but it's I like it because because it is so complex to read that I'm catching all of those little details, and it makes it more of an enjoyable read when you know that that you actually paid attention, like you studied for the test and you got the answer right, you know?
Right. Well, that's one of the fun things too about the trilogies or any series is that their future books can absolutely retroactively make earlier books better. To be like, oh, I didn't realize that was in my subconscious because of the first Alphabet Squadron, but I get I get why I'm crying. Why am I crying
Absolutely.
now?
Yeah.
Like,
Good way to put it. Yeah.
it's a great one. I love that choice. What we got? Corey, were you next?
I went next.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take the obvious one, and I don't feel guilty for taking that, which is Queen's Shadow. I don't feel guilty for taking that one because I've not read that many.
Wait, here we go.
I've not reread. Yeah, I know. Nice, the Queen saves
That's
herself.
right. That's what I wore.
I've not reread that many books in general in my life. Like there's probably less than a dozen books that I've reread. And all of those books I have reread multiple times. Queen's Shadow is, funny enough, one of those that we reread for the podcast, and all of our opinions dramatically changed on that book.
Right.
I've never felt so strongly, I think, about disliking a book on first read. And this is like, I think I read it in this early stage of deciding, you know, it came out about that time I was really starting to think intentionally about choosing the joy and choosing to like Star Wars and that sort of thing. And that's the time in which I read that book. And it hadn't really clicked yet of why that was a life choice in regards to things that you enjoy. And I didn't really enjoy it the first time. I thought it felt fan fiction-y. I disliked her writing style a good deal. It was very feminine. And like I was like, I don't really care about this right now. I'm a macho chauvinist dude, I guess. Like I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but like the audiobook totally changed that experience for me. That's my biggest thing. And this actually might be a good advice for Jackson, who read Lost Stars, is maybe try the audiobook to see if you enjoy it differently.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was, again, Wes, you had the trilogy making a book better. Star Wars, like you say, Corey, audiobooks. The audiobooks can fundamentally change your entire experience because they're so well produced. And again, the author talent, or the reader talent, excuse me, is so top tier, no matter who they get, whether it be Mark Thompson, January Lavoie, Emily Wuzeller, etc. But the love and care they put into making these true productions can take something on the page that may not grip you and make it just thrilling. So I'm really glad you mentioned that as well. Charles, we got two of the big hitters out of the way. What do you got? What are you going to leave me with?
Yeah. Well, before I say what my pick is going to be, I want to point out how ironic it is that we had that experience with Queen's Shadow, because what Corey's saying, and in my experience as well, was like, who are these people? Like, everyone's name sounds the same.
Yeah.
Like, how much could they really get up to, like, before Padme, goes through all this other stuff that we already know she goes through? And you're literally falling into the trap. You're like, that's the point.
Yeah.
Is they all wanted to sound the same. They wanted to seem unassuming, and that's how they were as successful as they are. So the fact that we literally read the book cover to cover the first time, Corey, at least you and me, and did not realize that we were actually falling for the trap that they were setting.
No,
is
name the same is stupid. You're right, bro.
It's such an intensely meta series.
It
now
is.
And the fact that we went from that to now, like when Queen's Hope got announced, being like, yeah, Padme. Like it's such a fun turn.
Now that you said that, like my Queen's Peril, or is it Queen's Shadow shirt that was made by Jose, like the characters on the shirt
The
are
shadow,
faded. Yeah, they're faded into the background of the shirt, right? So they're kind of.
Oh my god. Big brain shirt, big brain design. That was it.
That was intentional.
I was mad at first, but now I'm not.
Yeah.
Now they're all faded.
It's vintage now.
Oh man. All right. Well, I might surprise y'all with my answer. Initially, it was going to be Queen's Shadow, but and this was not planned, I did not love Lost Stars on my first pass through it as much as I do now. I didn't dislike it. Again, it wasn't something that I really hated, but I was like, like a lot of this story, I already know. Like, not a lot of this is new to me. And like, that's kind of why I'm coming to the EU. Like, I already know all these major events happened. And that was kind of how I approached it. And then beyond that, I was like, it's Romeo and Juliet. I mean, the story has been told a bunch of times before. And it really was just hearing the discussion from y'all and really the entire UTini team about why it resonated with them and why it was cool for this reason or that reason. And I reapproached it, and I've grown to really love it. I mean, I wholeheartedly support that it's in our foundational 5. I would reread it right now. I mean, it's just a fantastic book, and I didn't have an appreciation for it the first time that I read it, at least not like I do now. So again, that gets back to talking these things through. I mean, these roundtables, that's an interesting point, actually. I think far and away, I'm going to say 90% of the time at the end of a roundtable, our scores have gone up.
Yeah.
There have been very few occasions where they've gone down. Sometimes they don't change, but for the most part, they go up. And it's because you appreciate different aspects about a book that you never would have gotten just from your own point of view. You have to hear from other people as well. And that's what happened with me and Lost Stars.
Yeah, our roundtable discussions are very intentionally positive too, right? We have professional relationships with the authors and the publishers and those types of things, and like we always kind of go well out of our way, even if there are like particular things that we super disliked. We're more interested in having a healthy, joyous conversation than finding the hardcore criticisms that we really dislike, because that's insulting to authors and stuff. And we want to have them on our show. We don't want them to, question whether or not they want to come on our show because we're going to crap on them, right? So I think like it's even almost a meta discussion about like choosing to have a positive discussion makes you love a book more, right? Like it does, or anything, right? So
well, and it's funny because like that weirdly leads and I want to have that big discussion around my my final pick here. As we hit movies, we're gonna hit books. My pick for a book redemption is kind of weird. It's a little I'm breaking my own rules, but I made up the game, so whatever. You're in my world now. Mine is the Rise of Skywalker novelization, because this redeemed the story of Rise of Skywalker for me. Because Rise of Skywalker is not a film I love a lot. It's a film I have some issues with, but the plot points of the story that I had issues with in the film, Ray Carson's writing fundamentally made different for me in my head. Because Corey, you've mentioned a lot of times when we talk about Rise of Skywalker and our issues with it, that if you just look at it as a canon piece of Star Wars, it's just fine. Like totally. Yeah, and that's really what the book does. Like the page about Palpatine's plot, about creating the body on Exegol, all the stuff about like the other ships being in the battle, like the little things that she was able to put in redeemed that part of Star Wars that I really had trouble with. And on that note, let's, as we kind of get into the last part of the show here, I wanted to hit that question, right, about why we choose joy, because it is intensely common, way more common than we would ever like to admit, to talk about things you hate in Star Wars. It gets the likes, it gets the clicks, it will always get that. And before we just throw that to the side and talk about why we love stuff, why do we think psychologically those will always get more views, will always get more comments?
I think
I'm not going to change it.
I think having criticism and being negative, this might be a little controversial. I think being negative about anything is intellectually lazy. Like, I think it takes much more intentional thought and action to choose to approach something in a new way, right? I think it's easy just to look at something and be like, oh yeah, I don't like this for, this is the reason, right? Like, but I think it's more challenging to try to look at things intellectually. I think it's easy just to just dislike stuff.
Cheryl makes a good point too. Anger is easier, because you know what else has been easier since we were 9 years old? The dark side.
Yeah, that's right.
It's the easy path.
It is.
I have 2 points on this. One, it gets all the likes. Being negative gets all the likes for the same reasons that traffic slows down when you're going by a car accident. Everyone stops and looks. And it's like this fascination with something, I don't know, with something terrible that's happened. Like you don't want it to happen, but you can't look away. It's like one of those situations. And, when it comes to being negative, I think the other thing about it is, by tearing something down, you're making yourself feel like you're better than that thing. So you're like falsely inflating yourself and your own ego. And you say, that's not that cool. Like, I'm cooler than this thing. This thing sucks. Yeah. And then other people are like, yeah, I want to feel like that too. Like, this thing does suck. But, at the end of the day, it just creates this terrible, terrible cycle. And while, Monday you're talking about why Star Wars sucks, on Friday, someone is talking about why you suck. And it's not so fun when you're on the other end of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when you create that negative culture, it's inevitable. There is, you know, you're going to be touched by that negativity, and you are, just by having and holding on to that much negativity, you're creating just bad situations for yourself and for others.
I think I think it kind of creates the mentality of like you know more than you think you know, right? Like that's what the Dunning-Kruger effect is, right? It's like, have you seen that chart? You guys have seen it. It's been really popular in COVID times. Everybody thinks they know everything about COVID, right? And like Dunning-Kruger effect, if you're unfamiliar with it, it says that like you learn a little bit of knowledge and your confidence goes dramatically up. And it's a curve on a chart. As you learn more knowledge, your confidence dramatically goes down until you reach mastery, and then it starts to go up again. And I like medical school is that for me, like being intellectually lazy. I see this every single day. Like people come to the doctor and they like, I'm not going to get the COVID vaccine because I'm afraid mRNA will change my DNA. Right. And I'm like, with all my big brain knowledge, I've studied the crap out of this. I know that's literally impossible, right? So like, but like it takes a lot of energy and effort to explain that concept and that sort of thing. So it's easy just to dislike something because you don't understand it, right? And in Star Wars, I think that's particularly true because like, I think that there are very few people that are really well trained in storytelling and literature, and like George Lucas was inspired by Joseph Campbell and like really high level like intellectual thinking about storytelling and stuff. And it's easy to be like, I don't like that because that's not how light speed works without, but it's much more challenging to be like, yes, but this is the hero's journey, right? That's a much more complex thought, right?
It's so hard.
And it's Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, it's so hard to hear the dude who like basically figured out and created mythic structure saying George Lucas is his greatest student of all time. And there's people out there like on Twitter like Star Wars sucks.
I know.
Well, and it's interesting because Cheryl makes another great point that the negativity is a great introduction to mob mentality.
It is
because like you say also, Corey, it is very easy, right?
It is
to get into a group where you have to strive for intellectualism, or you have to strive to like something. Like this whole episode is based upon the fact that we did have to put in some work to like these things. And the result is we got a whole new level of enjoyment, but it did require effort. Whereas doing one negative thing, you'll be welcomed in immediately. And then you're part of something, which we all yearn for, especially in these times when we're so separate. And a lot of these things start with pain. Like I didn't like this thing that I thought I loved, and I am now hurt. And now someone else recognized my hurt and validated my hurt. I mean, it's Anakin.
Yeah,
I'm afraid of losing love. I'm hurt by this pain, and then it evolves. Whereas I'm so thankful that we have been able to cultivate this community, which is honestly driven by all of you that listen and all of you in the comments here, all of you in our Discord that have now made this like place that is just naturally interested in happiness, is naturally interested in re-examining things in order to find the joy, to get that extra level of enjoyment. And all this is never to say you can't criticize anything. It's never to say you can't like something. It's never to say you can't call something out. If it's, if some stuff is problematic in a certain way, if you feel like something is racist or something is homophobic, like that's a whole different kind of thing. But we have shown, I think, in our own lives, and that's why I wanted to have this episode, that taking the time, like you're saying, Corey, to re-examine intellectually something, to maybe trust that, like you're saying, Charles, Joseph Campbell's greatest student maybe had an idea that was pretty good. There is so much great stuff to be found. And the high you get from that moment where you're like, oh, I don't hate Attack of the Clones anymore.
I know.
It's just really cool.
It is.
To kind of go back to your question about like, why is it common for people to talk about things they hate in Star Wars? It's fun to speculate, right? So whether you can speculate on how maybe you would do something different, but then there's a line that can't really be, that shouldn't be crossed, but it gets crossed all the time, right? And that's what people hate, and they're assholes. Yeah. And they start being even worse about it. They don't. There's that fine line between speculation and talking about the things that they maybe would change, either with a movie, with a book, with a plot line, with a character. But once you cross that line saying that you hate it or it's stupid and you would change it, I mean, let's hear your idea. Let's see how much better your idea is, you know? And
that's why speculation is so dangerous.
Yeah. Most of the time that doesn't, those speculating answers, I guess, they don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And
we got some great freaking quotes in the chat here. I just want to call out our buddies from Pink Milk say it's so much easier to stand taller on someone's back than to pull yourself up to a level. So you knock others down to make yourself feel bigger.
Yeah.
Which is absolutely true. And Aaron Thompson says, in nature, you don't need to remember that the blueberry is delicious, but you do need to remember that the other berry made you feel sick. Like, it's so much easier for us to try to harness on the things that we don't like, because the natural things that make you happy, you don't have to remember that it makes you happy. You're just happy.
Yeah.
So as we kind of get to the end of the show a little bit, I think we would all agree that if you're listening to this, if you're watching this next week, this next month, this next year, there's going to be something about Star Wars you don't like, right? Or maybe something you've already read or seen. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it another read. Maybe ask a friend that you know likes it why they do. Maybe look up an article about a really positive review of something and see if it sticks, you know?
Listen, just if you like watching those clickbaity things on YouTube, find like 10 things to love about The Last Jedi, right? And watch some of those videos because they're really interesting. And, you know, I know it probably seems, you know, to a lot of our regular listeners, it probably seems a little bit like we're beating a dead horse here, right? Because we are always talking about this thing about being positive in Star Wars. But like, I think you have to continuously come back to this. Like every single time you experience something new in this universe is like it needs to be ingrained in your soul that you're going to behave a certain way when you approach every single Star Wars work.
Yeah. And it's like a good relationship. You know, I heard one time that when you love someone, you fall in love with like a partner, a romantic spouse or something like that, you don't just fall in love with them and then that's it. Great, I'm in love with them. Every morning you got to wake up and you choose that, no, this is the person I love. This is the person I'm in love with and I'm sharing a life with. And that's the strongest relationships are the people that consciously choose that. So even if you fight, even if you have disagreements, even if there's certain things that you don't always love about that person, you choose to love them and you choose that this is your life and you form that bond. And the same, I would honestly say, can be said about Star Wars with all of us. It's that important to a lot of us that this is a partner that will be with us for the rest of our lives. So we here at the Living Force in Utini, we choose to love Star Wars and God, it's fun. And it makes the rest of it just phenomenal.
It does. Like I can say that starting this whole thing with Utini has certainly made me love all Star Wars much more. And like, I didn't realize that we all had such diverse opinions about the films, like and how some of them were redeemed and stuff. So that's awesome. I think I might go watch The Phantom Menace tonight as I fall asleep. No kidding.
I might throw on Attack of the Clones and it's Attack of the Clones. Let's be honest. Charles, you stole my answer. But
I've always liked Attack of the Clones, so I don't know.
I have too, man. Thinking. I have the nostalgia that Charles has about Phantom Menace with Attack of the Clones, so I can't dislike it.
It's great.
Well,
on that note, though, we are gonna go watch things we love. We hope y'all pick up that book you never finished, or throw on that Arc of the Clone Wars you didn't quite click with, or whatever it may be. And we always have so much welcome for you here. Jump into Discord, tell us about it. Tweet at us, tell us what you love, and we'll throw that love right back to you. But on that, that'll be it for this week's episode of The Living Force. If you support us over on Patreon, we just want to say thank you so much. We hope you're enjoying all the content over there. Keep your eyes peeled for our May the 4th announcement. And in the meantime, everyone can head over to Discord and take part in the conversation. A special thank you goes out to Cheryl Bell, Patrick Ortiz, and Carl Sander on our Jedi High Council, and Elizabeth Cloutier, Jason Mitchell, Freddie C., and Sally and Chris Eilerson on our Alliance High Command for your amazing support. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Eric Eilerson. Corey is at Doc Star Wars MD. Charles is at C. Hankel. And Wes is at Boss Wes. A special thank you, as always, to Matt Davenport, our amazing editor, Ryan, our graphic designer extraordinaire, and Wes, our producer and community manager. Thank you to Corey, Charles, and Wes for podcasting with me. Thank you to all of you in the chat for hanging out tonight. And as always, may the Force be with you.